Over the last several years, there's been a big increase in interest in maximizing our productivity on a per acre basis, especially where we have irrigation in South Carolina. Our growers have been interested in double cropping soybeans behind corn within the same growing season, again to maximize our profitability on a per acre basis.
Over the last 3 years, what we've learned in the corn in this system is that corn planting date needs to be planted as early as possible in March, just so you can give these soybeans that are planted double crop behind the corn an adequate planting date and give them a realistic opportunity to increase and maximize yield. And so with us here in South Carolina, mid-March is kind of our earliest planting window, all the way up to about the 1st of April works best. And following the corn planting date, corn has to be harvested at a high moisture content. Growers here are typically starting out around 25% moisture content and working their way all the way through as the corn dries down to about 15.5%. So in this system of double cropping soybeans behind corn, residue management is a big challenge. As you can imagine, planting soybeans following a big corn crop, there's a lot of residue to be able to get an adequate stand on your soybeans. So here in our project, we've looked at strip tilling the soybeans behind the corn and offsetting the row. For us, that would be 15 inches, and then planting the soybeans directly into that strip till pass.
See, like from here to here is where we like offset to be able to cut, and then we have like another one there.
With soybean variety selection, and what we've seen is a soybean variety that gets real tall and maybe rank if it's grown full season seems to work well in the system. Soybean plant height is critical, as you can imagine, trying to harvest these soybeans ultra late in the year. And so here in South Carolina, the indeterminate Group 5 soybeans seem to be working best that we've seen over the past couple of years in this research trial. So one of the issues that we have here in South Carolina are plant parasitic nematodes. And in our sandy soils, a lot of these nematodes go to both corn and soybean. And so one of the components of this trial that we've looked at over the last 3 years are we building up large numbers of plant parasitic nematodes in both the corn and the soybean. So what we've seen over the past 3 years is it looks like we are starting to build up large numbers of southern root knot nematode, as well as several other nematodes that we have here in South Carolina. And we've also looked at, is there any advantage to applying an at-plant nematicide in both the corn and the soybean? And so basically from these treatment combinations, what we found is the use of an at-plant nematicide in the corn, and then also the soybean, and also using a root knot resistant variety here in South Carolina seems to be very beneficial in this system.
So at the conclusion of our 3 years of research here in Blackville, South Carolina, some of the high points that we've taken away from this system is that we need to make sure we're planting our corn early, preferably before April the 1st. Hybrid doesn't really matter in terms of the maturity on that, but harvest moisture is critical. So having the ability to dry grain is definitely essential for this system, where we can get the corn out as fast as possible and be able to give the soybeans a very good chance at making a crop. Maturity group's not as big of a deal in terms of soybean variety selection, but growing a very tall and rank variety is absolutely critical to make sure that we can get it in the combine. The use of at-plant nematicides in both the corn and soybean crops are also going to be beneficial in keeping our plant parasitic nematode levels below threshold.